I don't think we're at prime salt levels for this review yet. Ah, yes. That's better. Normally, I would probably like chug alcohol to let you know how frustrated I am with this book that I'm going to talk about, but I am currently sick, so I don't want to go chugging my good scotch while I'm sick. I'm not even kidding. This cup has like, can't really see it, chicken broth. Like, not feeling great. So we're going to have to go with red lipstick. You guys are just going to have to bear with me. This is as salty as I'm going to get, because I just think red lipstick can add to salt levels. Don't ask me why, it's a girl thing, I guess. And today, all of my salt is specifically reserved for Tower of Dawn by Sarah J. Maas, the Kale novella that turned into the Kale novel, which really should just be called all the Kale stuff that she cut out of Empire of Storms. Guys, I hate everything right now. I know that in my review of A Court of Wings and Ruin, I talked about how I have a very kind of contentious love-hate relationship with Sarah J. Maas's work. But let's put our cards on the table for like this book and Throne of Glass in particular, because I have reviewed Throne of Glass on this channel and I've mentioned the other books in passing. I love Kale. He's kind of my favorite character, specifically in like the first two books, and that's because Sarah J. Maas induced fucking brain damage on him from book like 3 and 4 onward. Really book 4, and yeah. But Kale is basically my favorite character. I guess sort of followed by like Manon and Selena. And yes, I'm specifying Selena because Selena and Aelin are basically two completely different people. That is an entire rant I do not have time for right now. We need to... I loved the first two novels in the Throne of Glass series. They were mindless, fun, fantasy action stories where I figured, great, now the assassin and her captain of the guard lover and the crown prince boy toy will team up again with our Queen Nehemia. R.I.P. Nehemia, one of the best characters in the series. It's not fine. And they'll take down the evil king and restore the kingdom, and like it'd be a great fantasy whatever action trilogy YA goodness. Guys, that's not what happened. I was a sweet summer child who knew nothing of the winter that is the, by this point, toxic relationship that I have with the writing of Sarah J. Maas. Yes, I said toxic. I almost said abusive. And I have some very specific reasons why. Sarah J. Maas has a habit of, as I said earlier, inducing brain damage in her characters, specifically her male characters who are initially the main love interest of her female protagonist, before she can write some new, dominant, extremely testosterone-filled, overly masculine male hero to quote-unquote dominate and likely magically mate with her female protagonist. I did mention this was going to be a very salty, very bitter review. Did you catch that? Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure the salt and the bitterness were clear. My sick could be affecting that. And here's the thing as to why I say like it's sort of a toxic relationship I have with Sarah J. Maas's books. It's because I still enjoy these books despite acknowledging a clear like systemic problem with every romance that shows up in every single Sarah J. Maas book. And that's a lot of romances. Like, seriously, try and list off every romance that has ever appeared, even if a character takes multiple partners. Like, look at the sheer volume of them. It's a lot of romances, guys. And most of them are shit. These books are trash, like very action-packed trash, especially by the end, and it's like, I keep reading them and being strung along and praying for the day that I will get to read a book and just be like, yes, this is actually good. I can objectively call this good as opposed to just like garbage that I weirdly just keep consuming. It never really happens, guys. But these books still have like a sentence structure that makes me wonder if she actually has an editor that goes in and checks these things. Like, and I know it's not just me because I have several friends who like all enjoy Sarah J. Maas, and we keep putting in sentences and paragraphs and go, who wrote these? Who okayed these? Like, these are the weirdest sentence structures I've ever seen in my life at times. It's something I actively now notice and I can't escape from the books. Especially this one. Oh God, there were some winners of strange sentences and sentence structures in Tower of Dawn. And just like other books, it has foreshadowing that shouldn't even be called foreshadowing. It should just be, I'm laying the plot out at your feet with some very, very, very obvious parts so that by the end, you're not surprised by the twist. I telegraphed the entire ending of this book, including who the two main characters would end up with, because obviously that romance wasn't gonna last, and everything. before I even hit 50%. I don't even think I was a third of the way through the novel. And I asked a friend of mine who'd read it. I was like, Kale's gonna end up with this person, Nehemia's gonna fuck this guy, and this is the person who's the behind the scenes, like, actually the undercover bad guy. And she was like, wow, how'd you get that? I'm like, it's fucking Sarah J Maas. I figured it out in like 10 seconds. It's not hard. Like, literally, by the end, I'm like, oh wow, much surprise, very twist, I'm so shocked, oh my god. And kind of as usual, she still just likes to assassinate her characters. And like, not necessarily kill them, but just like assassinate their character in such a way that she makes you deliberately hate them. This was the thing that happened with Kale, especially in, what was the fourth one called? Queen of Shadows. When we had the, by this point, Aelin and Kale reunion that was so fucking bad, I lost my mind. I went, we just deliberately made Kale act completely out of character so that I can now go ship Aelin and Rowan. Newsflash, I don't like Rowan. I have never liked Rowan, because here's the problem. First off, Heir of Fire reads like it is A Court of Thorns and Roses, but the beta version. It's just not as good. And like, there are a lot of issues with The Court of Thorns and Roses in that you could skip the entire first 100 pages and like move on from there, but Heir of Fire is the beta version of that. And Rowan is the beta version of Tamlin, mixed in with the beta version of like Rhysand. And he doesn't do anything to make me like him in any regard. He is this hardcore, like, prototypical alpha male who's a jackass to the female character, and is just, I just never liked him. I have never liked him. I've never understood it. Now for all the Rowan fans, you can have it. You want to ship that, ship it till Kingdom Come. I'm standing on the sunken decks of the USS Kaelena, and I will stay down here bitter and salty at the bottom of this goddamn ocean. I realized that was a serious rant. I did warn you all about the salt levels. It's fine. Okay, it's actually like really not fine, because that little thing about the character assassination really bothers me, and I'm gonna tell you why it really bothers me. It's because Kale was my favorite character. I really liked him. He had this kind of interesting backstory that needed to be revealed a little bit more, and it made me very curious about why he behaved the way that he did, especially in the first two novels. Like, he has this deep devotion to Dorian that I'm like, all right, this goes further than some other things. Like, he's clearly got some family drama. Like, okay, there's stuff about Kale I need to know so I can understand his character better, and he's really interesting. And then she just induced brain damage in book 4, and I was like, oh god. And better yet, he was then basically gone for all of Empire Storms, and that is what Tower of Dawn is. This is us explaining away his absence, which is really just a chance for Sarah J Maas to heavy-handedly retcon his character because she realized she done fucked up in Queen of Shadows. See, now he's physically crippled. So we can have all this heavy-handed symbolism and allegory, and like how, oh, this outward journey towards being physically well again is all about an inner journey, about letting go of guilt and trauma. And oh my fucking god, there's nothing subtle about this garbage. Nothing. Remember how I said it was super predictable? Oh my god, like, really? I do want to say there's probably an entire argument that can be made for things such as ableism. I honestly don't know enough about it, so I'm not going to talk about it. I'm talking about this from, like, I've read enough literature that, like, please, really, it's really obvious this is what you're going to be doing. So that's why I'm not talking about it. It's only because I honestly do not feel comfortable enough that, like, I know enough on that topic to be able to go into it. But, like, this is garbage, guys. It's not even good garbage. And by the way, remember how I said we like to play, you know, musical chairs with love interest? There's another new love interest, but we have to make sure that Nesryn leaves first and goes off to fuck a prince so that it's okay for Kale to, like, get with this other person. And I'm like, I can't. I hate this love interest too. It's not entirely her fault. I just hate everything about it. Like, Nesryn and the prince, actually, that's okay. I'm kind of okay with that one. It's also garbage, but, like, it's slightly better. It's slightly more, I don't know why. Maybe because I don't care about Nesryn all that much. Oh, guys. I threw this book so much side-eye while I read it, if you haven't guessed. Honestly, this book just grates on, like, every fiber of my being. It's dull. It's predictable. It does everything that I hate in Sarah J Maas books. It doesn't make me feel any better about the direction that this series has gone, which I have honestly hated since Heir of Fire. The only good thing that came out of Heir of Fire was the introduction of Manon. That's pretty much it. I mean, I feel a little bad. There's, like, one tiny little salt grain of positive here, which is that there was some cool world stuff brought in. Like, there's an entire moment of exposition where an evil, like, spider tells you everything, and I was like, okay, this is, like, the one part of the book I'm mildly interested in, but beyond that, I'm, by this point, begging for the final book to come out, because, like I said, I'm in this toxic relationship with Sarah J. Maas books, so I will read it and then be so happy this series is over. Thanks for watching me ramble today. If you'd like to see more from me, go ahead and click that button with my face on it. It'll take you to my channel, where I ramble about a whole lot of different things. Got some thoughts of your own? Go ahead and leave them down in the comments. And make sure that if you want to see more ramblings from me, you click that little subscribe button. That's it for me today, you guys, so until next time, cheers.